Hey folks, John from Complete Technology Solutions, your friend in the computer business. I got a good one for you today, guys. There is no secret what my favorite all-time computer is. I mean, everybody out there that knows me pretty much knows what it is. But today, I got a variant for you. Hang tight. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, when I grew up, I think I've told most of you guys this story. I grew up using the old Commodore 64, which was, even to date, the best-selling computer in history, right there. And there was a reason for that. They were easy to program. They were very inexpensive. They were incredibly versatile at the time. There was nothing quite like them. They were actually amazing, and they still are. In a lot of ways, there are still people out there that are writing software for these games and applications just because they're very simple and fun to work on. But now we have another company, and they have released what they call the C64 Mini. Now, this is supposed to be a miniature version of the Commodore 64. I've done a little looking into this, so I know a little bit, but let's crack this box open and let's see what we got in here. So, we're going to move the Commodore over to the side here, and let's open this up and see what we got. All right, on first inspection, I'm going to try to show this to Stumpy here. We all know how good he is these days. It's a really nice box. Looks like it is going to come with a joystick. It says that it's got 64 games included. Now, that's interesting because there is actually, from what I understand, on this version, a USB port on the side to actually bring in any of your old Commodore games. As a lot of you guys know, I have quite a collection of Commodore games because I am a fan. So we'll look into that too. But let's get on back here to open it. So that world's best-selling home computer, they are not kidding, reborn. There's something also really cool about this this company that I'll tell you about here in a second. I discovered them by accident, strangely enough. And when I went on their website, it mentioned this one and an upcoming version. Oh, speaking of which, let's take a look at the back of this box before we get in here. It lists off a lot of the games that it's actually got on it. Boulder Dash, it lists California games, Speedball, Impossible Mission, one of the classics. Pit Stop, Winter Games, I have spent a lot of time on that one. Temple of a Spy, let's see here. Street Sports Baseball, it does have Commodore Basic, although I think there might be a problem. We'll discuss that in a second. Summer Games and Jumpman, that's the ones they have listed on here. There is actually a full list of games on here, and I am hoping, I'm looking alphabetically here to see if it's got my all-time favorite, and it doesn't look like it does, so you can bet if that USB port is present, we're going to be checking for it. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right. Oh, very, very nice box. I don't know if Stumpy's picking up how glossy that is, but it's actually lifted up. It's raised. Very, very nice. All right, and there, oh my God, that is so cute. All right, that is like the world's tiniest Commodore 64 right there. And as you can see, it comes with a joystick. There is a little plastic cover there. Pull that off. And it looks like the joystick might also have a plastic cover. There we go. All right. Tell you what, let's get right to the meat of this thing. I've got to see what this looks like. Okay, that is about as cute as it gets, guys. Look at this. That is a little Commodore 64. For ports on it, it looks like you've got 2 USB ports. That's nice. That appears to be a power switch. It's actually a soft toggle power switch. You've got a micro USB power in, which, by the way, was interesting because the one thing it tells you is that the AC adapter is not included. So it's a standard, micro USB, no big deal, but that is something you might want to know. And it's got an HDMI port out. Pretty cool. All right, we'll go ahead and take a look at that joystick here. It looks like it is a couple more cables in this box too. Looks like they give you the HDMI cable and they do give you the power cable, although, which is interesting because it says they don't include it, but the cable's there. Oh, AC adapter not included. Okay, so you get the cable, but you don't get the AC adapter. Gotcha. All right. Got us a little instruction book down here. Oh, wow. Guys, this actually kind of resembles the original Commodore 64 book. That's really neat. Looking through here, pretty basic stuff. Nothing too terribly interesting. Talks about the micro USB, the HDMI. Basically, plug it in, turn it on. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Retro Reborn, the world's first retro game subscription service. Now that's a new one. Have to check into that too. All right, getting into that joystick here. All right, we'll move all this stuff off to the side so we can play around with it. All right. So right off the bat, one thing I'm noticing about this joystick, it's not super light. It actually does have some weight to it. It does not appear to have micro switches. So this must actually have the little bumps you would push down, the reactive switches, but it doesn't have the micro switches in it. That's not a huge problem, but buttons feel pretty good. And there are quite a few buttons on here. All right, so tell you what we're going to do. Before we go ahead and fire this thing up and take a look at it, I kind of want to see what's inside this little thing. It's so small. And just to give you an idea of the difference in size, and I'm going to see if I can show Stumpy this. This is the Commodore 64, all right? And as you can see, it pretty much fills up Stumpy's screen there. This is the Commodore 64 Mini. So you could probably, I'd call that a quarter size at best. And, yeah, so it's about a quarter of the size of it, and let's say about 2/3 of the height. So, pretty small thing. Now, the other thing I'm noticing about this one, the keyboard is not functional. That is just visual. Now, here's what I've heard. I heard that the company that makes these, and I will put a link to this company down here in the description below, actually has a version of this that is supposed to, believe it or not, come out in December. So, for all I know, it could be out now. That actually has a fully functioning keyboard. If that's the case, guys, that's a brand new reborn Commodore 64 right there, ready to go, with USB and HDMI on it. I hope that's true. We'll see how that comes. I did look at it. It does look like they're supposed to be available. We'll see. You know, if they are, we'll have one on the channel for sure. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and open this up. I want to see what's inside this. And I'm pretty sure it's just going to be one little board, but I got to know. So hang tight one sec. We'll crack it open. All right, guys, so looks like on the bottom here we've got 4 rubber feet that I'm willing to bet are probably covering screws. So let's, as gently as we can, remove the, yep, there they are. And we're going to take these off as gently as we can so that we can replace them. There we go. All right, and the last one. All right. And we're going to go ahead and remove these 4 Phillips screws here and see what's inside this thing. Now, before somebody out there asks, and I know somebody will, no, I do not intend to throw a raspberry and bake a pie into this yet. Yeah. In the future, who knows? But no, not right now. And I had a guy the other day, as a matter of fact, mentioned that. He goes, I noticed you like to mod pretty much anything you can get your hands on. Yeah. Yeah, why not, right? Okay. You can take something old and make it new, make it functional again. It's definitely worth it. I've always said that. All right, so we got our 4 screws out. All right, let's put this down and see if we can open it up here. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's great. All right, guys, so as expected, the keyboard is just a piece of plastic back here. There's nothing to it. There is one PCB, just one. Looks like there is a processor under there with a big old heat sink on it. But the case has got these 3 little weights in here to give this thing weight. If these weren't in there, this would weigh nothing at all because all there is in this is this one board. So there really is nothing to this thing. All right, so I'm going to put her back together. And yes, that does mean that this would be very, very, very easy to bake a pie into. So who knows? Maybe in the future we'll do something like that. But first, we're going to play with it and see what it actually does. Now, hopefully, we'll be able to, since we do have an HDMI, we'll go ahead and be able to use that new video capture card that I got. It worked pretty well in the last video, and I got a lot of positive feedback from it. So we'll use it on this one, and we'll see what it does. Hang tight. Be right back with you. All right, guys. So I'm going to turn Stumpy around here so you can kind of see. I've got her all plugged in. HDMI cable going out. We have the power. It does use the same power as a Raspberry, which is pretty convenient. All right, so let's go ahead and fire this up. All right, and while that's firing up, we will grab the USB joystick. Hang on one second here. All right, so I'm going to take the audio level down. Hopefully we'll be getting good audio off of the video capture. I'm pretty sure we probably will. So we're going to go ahead and take the joystick that came with it. Right here. And let's get it plugged in. Now, I don't know about using other joysticks with this. I've got an old Atari joystick that's actually a USB, one of the newer ones. Let's see what we get here. All right, so we're going to go on into English. And here's our start button. All right, and we are immediately presented with a list of games. Now, one thing I want to look at here, this is the basic. And it looks like when you go into it, it's just going to give you actual Commodore Basic. Now, that's got me wondering a couple of things. Number one, can I just plug a regular keyboard into it? Fortunately for all of us, I can test that right here. So let's plug in a standard keyboard and let's see if we can just start typing, because the other way would be to use the on-screen keyboard, and I wouldn't even want to try that. So let's see here. Apparently, we don't seem to be getting anything out of the keyboard yet. So the answer to that question might actually be no. I'm going to try to unplug the joystick, which took us back to here. Let's see if we can actually navigate with a keyboard. And it does not appear you can. So, it doesn't look like you can use a keyboard with it. One last try to see. Okay, yeah, so we can't use a keyboard. All right, that's good to know. So, as far as the Commodore Basic goes, I'm going to show you guys this. I was reading on this how you would actually program on it, because some would wonder, well, if they give you Basic, but it isn't working, well, how would you do it? Well, there's a button on here to turn on a virtual keyboard. Now, if you can imagine trying to write a line of code like this, it would take you forever. I don't even know where space is on this one. Let's see, there's space. Oh, I see. You go, space is this one. Okay, so let's try this. And this is the basic program that we always write. All right, guys, so that took me about, about a minute to write that whole thing. I know I sped it up for you so you can kind of see it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to try to write any kind of advanced program. However, I will tell you that it does appear to work. Let's see if we can do an enter on this. And there you go. So as you can see, it is actually working. And you can actually do full screen there. And we can exit the game here. All right, so that is pretty cool. I'd like it better if you used the keyboard, but that's all right. So let's take a look at some of the games we got on here. Looks like we got Battle Valley, and all of these are Commodore games. Now, from what I understand, they are designed to emulate even load speeds. I hope that's not entirely accurate, because a lot of these load speeds were pretty darn long. All right, here we go. Fire to start. All right. And once again, you can access that on-screen keyboard from anywhere in the game by hitting that small menu button. Oh, yes, I remember this game. It was one of the original tank side-scrollers. All right, well, that was not too bad. We'll go ahead and cut out of there. Now, we could go through all these games. Boulder Dash, everybody knows Boulder Dash. Epic Breakdance, gotta love that one. Let's see here, California Games. Chips Challenge, let's see here. Coil Cop. Confusion was good. That was basically a big puzzle game. Dimensions, Destroyer. trying to get into one of the ones that are more, that we all remember more clearly here. Let's see. All right, here we go. Impossible Mission 2. Now, these games, when these came out, I mean, I literally spent days and days and days to play these things. And when you go into them, another visitor, you'll hear that here in just a second.
Stay a while. Stay forever.
Okay, now, first thing I'm going to notice, if you guys heard that, the pitch on that was quite a bit higher than what a standard Commodore would have been. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see if the gameplay acts like it. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, that's right. I remember this level. The ball kind of follows you on this one, so... The idea was you're searching all these different items in here, and you're trying to find pieces to a map. And then the map, like that was a piece right there. Once you find the pieces to the map, you can move forward. You can unlock different puzzles and different areas. Everything in here tries to kill you. Like that. It's a great game, though. But I am curious about why that sounded so high-pitched. Let's take a look and see if Impossible Mission 2 sounds the same way. Now, admittedly, I didn't play as much Impossible Mission 2. Okay, this one was interesting because you actually had to have door codes to get through the doors. I do remember that. All right, well, let's go out of this one. Check out the game here. All right. Jumpman, that was one of the classics. Monty on the Run. Boy, there's another one I used to play all the time. One of the best side-scrollers you could get back in the day. And you can literally spend days. You can't touch anything. That's the key to this game. And as you can see, Monty doesn't jump real linearly. Oh, and that's why you don't jump through exits. There we go. I used to be pretty good at this game. As you can see, I'm not so much anymore. But that's a short example of Monty on the Run. I'll exit that. The two games this doesn't have that I wish it had, a couple of my favorites. One was called Mule, which was one of the first real-time strategy trading auction games. It was really great. And the other one is Mail Order Monsters, and that's another one that really to keep you pinned to it. There is a section in here. Now I'm going to run just quickly through the rest of these games to see what else they've got. Paradroid was a great game. I used to spend a lot of time on that. We may come back to playing some of these. In fact, tell you what I may do, guys. Given this thing is so cool, I may come back on the next episode or in one in the near future, and I'm going to use what looks like you can add. Oh, now hold on a second here. It looks like you can add a USB keyboard onto here. Interesting. So maybe it just did not like my keyboard, or maybe, hold on a second, it's quite possible that it wouldn't hot swap it. Let's try this. If I plug the keyboard in now, let's see what it does. All right, we're going to go down to reset. In fact, we'll just do it the easy way. We'll reset it right here. All right. And we're going to bring this back up with the keyboard currently connected. Let's see if that makes a difference. All right, so now that we've got the keyboard in and it's actually plugged back in, we plugged the USB in before we started this up. So let's see if the keyboard's actually working. Oh, looky there. All right, guys, so the keyboard is functioning. So the trick is you have to have it, and escape is your break key. You actually have to have it plugged in before you turn on the Commodore. So that's the key. But that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, guys, so Commodore 64 Mini. Pretty darn cool. It's a neat little piece of technology. These are cheap, actually. I was really surprised to hear how cheap they actually were. I think they're like $30 on their website, with the 60 built-in games. And I am going to download all of my Commodore ROMs now. I've understood that there's some sort of an issue with this particular revision of the BIOS on it, to where it will only acknowledge up to 100 games in a folder. So I'm going to have to alphabetize the games and put them all in there. But as we all know, there's 2 games that I'm looking for. Actually 3. Because my 3 favorite games back then, Mail Order Monsters, definitely, Mule, and Archon. So we definitely want to get those on this system. We'll be doing an upcoming episode on this one once I get the USB stick in here, and we'll just start dragging in games and see how everything plays. Well, thanks again for joining me, guys. I know this was a short one, but it's a pretty cool little system, and who knows, we may mod that sometime in the future. Well, you know me, it's kind of hard to keep the old hands off of it, but we'll see what we can do. Once again, have a great week. Thanks for joining. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.